The Muslims in Medina consisted, virtually, of two parties. The first, one already settled down in their abode, land and wealth, fully at ease, but seeds of discord amongst them were deeply seated and chronic enmity continually evoked. They were Al-Ansar, the helpers. The second party were Al-Muhajirin, the emigrants, homeless, jobless and penniless. Their number was not small, on the contrary, it was increasing day by day after the Prophet, PBUH, had given them the green light to leave for Medina, whose economic structure, originally not that prosperous one, began to show signs of imbalance aggravated by the economic boycott that the anti-Islamic groups imposed and consequently imports diminished and living conditions worsened. 2. The purely Madanese polytheists constituted the second sector with whom the Prophet, PBUH, had to deal. Those people had no control at all over the Muslim. Some of them nursed no grudge against the Muslims, but were rather skeptical of their ancestors' religious practices, and developed tentative inclination towards Islam, and before long they embraced the new faith and were truly devoted to Allah. However, some others harbored evil intentions against the Prophet, PBUH, and his followers but were too cowardly to resist them publicly. They were rather, under those Islamically favorable conditions, obliged to fake amicability and friendliness. Abdullah bin Ubay, who had almost been given presidency over Al-Khazraj and Al-Aws tribes in the wake of Bu'ath war between the two tribes, came at the head of that group of hypocrites. The Prophet's advent and the vigorous rise of the new spirit of Islam foiled that orientation, and the idea soon went into oblivion. He, seeing another one, Muhammad, PBUH, coming to deprive him and his agents of the prospective temporal privileges, could not be pleased, and for overriding reasons he showed pretension to Islam but with horrible disbelief deeply rooted in his heart. He also used to exploit some events and weak-hearted new converts in scheming malevolently against the true believers. 3. The Jews, the Hebrews, who had migrated to Al-Hijaz from Syria following the Byzantine and Assyrian persecution campaigns, were the third category existent on the demographic scene in Medina. In their new abode they assumed the Arabian stamp in dress, language and manner of life, and there were instances of intermarriage with the local Arabs. However, they retained their ethnic particularism and detached themselves from amalgamation with the immediate environment. They even used to pride in their Jewish Israeli origin, and spurn the Arabs around, designating them as illiterate, meaning brutal, naive and backward. They desired the wealth of their neighbors to be made lawful to them, and they could thus appropriate it the way they liked.